Elon Musk said no one's trying to assassinate Biden and Kamala, right? That's what Elon Musk tweeted. And then Cuomo came out and said, hey, this is not an angle to take because it's causing even more. And I think Cuban commented on it. A few other guys come in. Maybe Cuban didn't comment on it. But the point I'm trying to make here is with Trump is, between now and end of election, November 5th, the way it's going, do you think the attempts are done? Or do you think it's a real effort to try to take him out?
No, it's not a conspiracy. It's far too many of that. There have been 9 close assassination attempts in this country. 4 were successful. Lincoln, Garfield, McKinley, and JFK. Okay? So, and 5 didn't work. Teddy Roosevelt shot in the chest, and we write about all of this in Confronting the Presidents, but he had a speech in his jacket pocket which deflected the bullet. Okay? Ford, one of the Manson family people, tried to kill him with a pistol. Reagan, that close to dying. That close. Mm-hmm. All right? And there were Harry Truman, they were after him, but they got them, and that wasn't an assassination attempt, it was an assassination plot. There's different. But 9 times, and Trump leads the league with the 2. But the one thing that is in common with all of those 9 attempts is one thing. All of the would-be assassins or assassins were mentally ill. Every one of them.
Pre doing it or afterwards they were qualified
they were all
as mentally ill
while they were doing it.
No. But that's a very important question I'm asking, Bill. I'm curious because this is your world. Were they qualified as mentally ill before they killed it, or did the government and doctors come out afterwards and say you're mentally ill?
It wasn't a doctor's diagnosis, but we traced them down in this book. You see how crazy they were. Booth is crazy. John Wilkes Booth, totally out of his mind. Okay? And every one of them, Lee Harvey Oswald, off the wall. I mean, these were miscreants, but they couldn't blend into society. The guy in Butler, in Pennsylvania, and this guy out here in Florida, I mean, you look at their social media rantings, you look at who they are, they're all mentally ill, everyone. And here's the real danger. There's millions of them running around America. Millions of them. We don't have any containment on the mentally ill in this country. I don't think any country does. Because a lot of these people are schizophrenic. You don't know they're mentally ill. You know they're a little strange, but you don't know how long they're going to take it. You can't incarcerate them on a maybe. But there's millions of mentally ill people running around. And that's why we have a dangerous country. So
based on that, the percentage is 9% of presidents get killed, okay? And roughly 20% of presidents have an assassination attempt on them.
Something like that.
Yeah.
But I say to everybody, this should not be surprising. And Americans always want to blame somebody. That we lead the league in the world, and we always want to blame. So if your team loses, I'm blaming the quarterback or the coach. It's a blame society. Here, it's much more complicated than that. We live in a dangerous country in America. And the reason we do is history. We had to forge our freedom by a war. We pushed west by another war with Native Americans, which I read about in Killing Crazy Horse. We had to have guns to protect ourselves because the federal government couldn't protect us and still today cannot protect us. Okay? So we, the people, and Jefferson and Madison knew that. We have to have self-protection because the government can't protect 330 million people. The average response to a 911 call in New York City is now 15 minutes. I mean, you're dead 8 times. So all of this, we're going to ban the guns and keep them on. And you have to protect yourself as best you can. And the Secret Service wasn't doing that with Trump. And boy, that harrowing testimony where that woman, the head of the Secret Service, went in front of Congress, that was embarrassing.
Oh, man,
that was horrible.
Well, let me ask this question. So, remember that one clip you did 3 years ago, the fairness doctrine? I want to come back to that. I don't want to go there first. I'm going to come back to it. But the Smith-Mundt Act, right? that if you want to pull it up, Rob, just to read it for the viewer on what this was when it first came out, the U.S. Information and Educational Exchange Act of 1948, right? Popularly known as Smith-Mundt Act, was introduced by Congressman Carl E. Mundt, 1945, 79 Congress, subsequently passed by 80 Congress. The act was developed to regulate broadcasting of programs for foreign audiences produced under the guidance of the State Department, and it prohibited domestic dissemination of materials produced by such programs as one of its provisions. And this led to VOA, right? Voice of America. And I think if you can go to the story where talks about the AP News one, because they said Obama's the one that repealed it in 2012 or 2013. And you should have the links. I think you texted it to me, Rob. If you have it somewhere there, I'll text it to you as well. I want to know what you're going to say with this, because I'm trying to find out where things flipped, okay? So part of this, my understanding, correct me, this is your world. My understanding is, with right there, Obama. So AP News says he did not sign a law allowing propaganda in the U.S., right? The claim of this was that former President Barack Obama signed a law in 2012 allowing government propaganda in the U.S. and making it perfectly legal for the media to purposely lie to the American people. AP's assessment is false. In 2013, Obama signed legislation that changed the U.S. Information and Educational Exchange Act of 1948, also known as the Smith-Mundt Act. The amendment made it possible for some materials created by the Agency for Global Media, the nation's foreign broadcasting agency, to be disseminated in the U.S., which that's not necessarily false. It's not telling the whole story. Was this a big change in media to confuse us, where the government can kind of now go out there and tell us, hey, here's what's really going on, but we don't know the whole news. Government's giving us the news.
Well, it's a breakdown. The government has the right to, if it's funding a media organization like Voice of America, you can say, we're going to do propaganda here. We're going to pipe ourselves into Radio Marti and tell the Cubans they're getting hosed. You have a right to do that. PBS and NPR, partially funded by the government.
They have the right to do that?
Yeah, because it's a federal government.
But why do we put it in 48 to not let them do that?
I don't know why they passed that dopey bill. It's probably because they had no idea the impact of television at that point. They didn't know because it was just coming in. But I'm just telling you what constitutionally the government has a right to do. The government owns and pays for the media company. It can tell a media company what to do.
How much of a negative impact has VOA have on American people?
I don't know. I have to.
Are you a fan, or you think it's a good thing?
Look, the more messaging you can get out to people in the world who are oppressed and tell them what's really going on, because you don't get information in China and Russia and Cuba, the better.
But it's the government doing it. It's not
the government. Who else?
I lived in Iran. We have 2 news stations. The government was telling us how, death upon America. America's the evil empire. It's the worst place in the history of mankind.
Right.
And the Shah was a whore. Well, we're doing that, though. This is the difference is for us. Like, America's not. So this is the USA gear, limited edition for the rest of the year. If you love America, sport this USA gear. On the side, it says Future Looks Bright. On the back, it says Valuetainment. On the side, it's got the American flag. We got the shirts. We got the flip-flops. These are the only flip-flops I wear when I'm at the house and walking the dogs. It feels amazing with the gel in it. So if you love America, if you believe the future looks bright, if you love Valuetainment, click on the link above or below. Go wear some of the gear and tag us, because we share the pictures on the podcast all the time. So go to vtmerch.com and place your order.
So if you like this clip and you want to watch another one, click right here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click right here.